Hey everybody, welcome to Landscape Rescue. My name is Stuart Moore, and today I think we might do a Lowe's plant shopping video. Let's get in there. This looks like a burgundy glow. Yep, burgundy glow ajuga. Look how pretty that is. It's got like a pink new growth on it. That's neat. I like those. It's not as annoying when there's a sea of it, right? This is a little bit more dynamic and a little prettier. I do like that burgundy glow. That's a pretty ajuga. Now this one is $7.98. This is some more of that Shadowland Hope Springs Eternal. Now that they've gotten a little bigger, you guys can better look at that. But yeah, these are pretty. Our buddy Will doesn't like the crinkly ones. You can't be good at everything, Will. I have talked about these before. There was a long video ago, years back in the old days. This is just it's called garden tiles, but I see these every year, and it's just sedum, and you just pop it out of this plastic tray and you just lay it on top of the ground. Keep it from drying out for a little while because it's sedum. I've seen people do this on roofs. Really neat. Just different varieties of sedum. So think about this: if you got a rock path with some big joints, right? So flat rock path, and you can cut this. So just run your knife down there, get an idea of what you're working with, and then just push this into those joints. That looks really, really good. I did that one time with miniature daffodils, and I put them in all the joints. My boss told me it was a bad idea, or he thought the homeowner wouldn't care about it. They're not gonna care about that. They're millionaires, blah, 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 blah. But I kind of live in the world of nuance when it came to designs. I went and bought a bunch with my own money. Now this is 20 years ago, so you could get them pretty cheap. And I think I bought like $30 worth. I just put them in on my own. They thought that was the best thing we had ever done. God bless him, he took credit for it, of course, which as he should have, because he was the one that had the genius idea to hire me. So indirectly it was kind of his idea. Okay, so it is way too early for it to be coleus time. If I ever find coleus in like 606s, I buy coleus. Now these are in these small little, I don't know, like 3-inch pots, 4-inch pots. They're $1.98. Coleus, I feel like, grows so fast and it gets so pretty so quickly. I don't want a 1-gallon coleus. I think I even got a video where I'm out planting 1-gallon coleus, and they were like $8 a piece. And so if you think about it, if I need 4 coleus per window box, I mean, that's $24 per window box. 3 window boxes, that's $75 on coleus. Why don't I just do something like this? Build a flat of all these cool varieties, all the different colors, and do that. Unfortunately, I don't want to run out there with frost cloth every single time we're gonna get a freeze. Look at this cute little guy. Yeah, this is dianthus. No real variety. Nope, it's just gonna say dianthus. But I like those. Those are pretty. $1.98. There's something. Being they're a perennial, I wouldn't mind doing that. So this is always a grass that has somewhat baffled me. And I would have customers ask for it periodically, so I'd always try to keep 10 of them in stock, you know, in a 1-gallon pot. But it's this red rooster leatherleaf sedge. And no, your eyes don't deceive you. It looks dead. It is not dead. It has a kind of a mahogany leaf. It has a really cool texture. It feels like leather. It's tactile. And it looks like this all year. It's kind of funny. When it goes down, it's a very light brown. So dark brown is not typically its death color. It's a lighter brown. I've always thought that was kind of a silly plant. But nope, I can't even say anything good about it. It's always been a silly plant to me because it just looks dead. Here's a blue dart rush. So rush is, again, very tubular. It's not so much like a blade of grass. It's more tubular, like a leek or an onion. That's kind of how it makes me feel. And this is blue arrows rush. It doesn't get huge, yeah. 3 feet by 14, 3 feet by 14 inches. So very upright, relatively stately, but it does remind me of a water grass, yeah. But very stiff and stately. This is maiden grass. We've covered this before. I've never had deer problems with maiden grass. A lot of times we'll use maiden grass to cover up big electrical boxes and stuff that is in somebody's front yard. We just build a giant landscape around this thing and have a lot of grasses in there. And by midsummer, you can't even see the electrical box anymore. And I'm talking about those big ones, you know, that they have to stand up. And the reason the beds are usually so big is because you have to be like 10 feet away from where they crack it open, because they need those big long poles adjust it for safety. You want to have some respect for those guys and do enough of a design to where when they do open that up, you don't got to worry about whatever electricity amps. You got to worry about the amps. because it's not the volts that get you, it's the amps. We can cover, I mean, maiden grass is pretty common. You guys probably understand how to use these. They have somewhat of an arching habit, so you can see how the blade of grass kind of arches over. I think they're only gonna get about 5 feet tall, but they arch over. It's gonna arch. That blade is very thin and wispy, and so it kind of arches a little bit. If you stand that up straight, it's probably 6 foot tall, but they just kind of arch around 5. The seed head for maiden grass only gets about 5 feet tall, so it's kind of mixed in there. Something like, I just saw some. Hardy pampas grass is only gonna get about 5 or 6 feet tall, but it's gonna have a 14 to 16 foot plume that comes up. Right, so when you read the size, it says mature height 8 to 10 feet, that's the plume, right? That's the seed head. That's not necessarily, that's the flower for grasses. That doesn't necessarily mean the grass is gonna get that tall. Because I mean, yeah, I guess, but they arch a little bit too. So I guess if you stood that up, it might be 8 feet, but I would say, you know, about my chin, and then they start kind of arching over. There's that. But my favorite grass, and I just saw it, my favorite grass is probably the Karl Forester. This Karl Forester is in a 5-gallon pot, or a number 5. It's $34.98, and at $34.98, that's not a bad price. That's about retail for a 3-gallon, I would say. That's probably fair. If you went to a little mom and pop nursery, you'd probably pay 35 bucks for a 3-gallon. And I haven't worked at one of those places since pre-COVID, so prices have probably gone up. But Karl Forester, very stately grass, very pretty grass. There's nothing wrong with Karl Forester. I like to use those in very modern homes because they are very stately, and you could space them out about every 8 feet in a white gravel flower bed with white gravel and Russian sage. And that's maybe one obsidian boulder over in the corner. Like, that's what you do for those. You take the minimalist approach when you're doing, or at least that's what helped me become successful with those, because it is a little bit of a challenge. It does look a little goofy having French cottage, or English cottage, which is my design aesthetic that I like the most, in front of a modern house that looks like a Picasso painting. You can't get too whimsical, because it's not a whimsical house. Man, I am still all locked up. Ugh. It's wearing me out. I can hear myself getting irritated with my own voice while I'm editing. See it happening. Oh wow, look at these. American Pie Dianthus. How pretty is that? Look how many buds this thing is gonna have on it. And that is a very pretty red. Look at that. Wow, beautiful. Here's another Dianthus. Fruit Punch Cranberry Cocktail. Look at that flower. That's one flower, guys. That is one flower. Man, and look at all those buds on this thing. Man, that is gonna be a cool one. Yeah, it's not big, 10 inches, so that's about it. Which usually when they start to go to seed, that's about or when they start to go to flower, that's about where they're done growing, you know. They might get wider throughout the growing season. That's why you push them. That's why you give them fertilizer tabs. That's why you give them a good biologically rich environment to grow in. And watch the fireworks. I found a salvia I don't have yet. This is Noble Night Salvia. I am unfamiliar. It does look like an upright salvia, like in East Friesland or a Blue Bayou. Good to negative 40 degrees. Okay, typical. It's only a 10-incher. That's all you're gonna get out of this guy. They have them priced at $17.98. We're not gonna do that. We're gonna buy them for $2 a piece in July. That's what we're gonna do. I don't know if y'all are gonna be into this sort of stuff, but this is a spirea. Some of the prettiest hedges I've ever seen were made of spirea. I like spirea. It's deciduous, right? So it's not an evergreen hedge. It's a deciduous hedge, but they bloom, right? And so they have these really pretty little pink flowers. Now this one's supposed to be different. This one's called Pink Sparkler, and it only gets 3x3 or 4x4. Probably 3x3 is where I would want to keep them as I trimmed them, but very trimmable. I think people forget about spirea, and spirea bounce back really, really well. I used to trim them in the nursery all the time just to get them to pop again. There's like candy corn spirea, which is really popular at the nursery I used to work at. Some of those like more dwarf spireas that have that yellow foliage, gold flame, you know, those kind of spireas that have the red new growth. And those, so you trim them up and they get the new red growth on them, and then people buy them. So that's why I wanted to have a shirt that says the key to happiness is new growth, because as a nurseryman, if I can create new growth, then I'm gonna sell that plant, whatever it is. What do we have here? Oh wow, okay. Now we're talking, now we're talking. I'm glad I found this. So this is a Grace and Grit rose from Monrovia. This is yellow. Okay, so I've got one of these. I transplanted it a couple years ago. I moved my red Grace and Grit and it has done nothing but perform. It's in a lot more shade than it should be, but it's kind of a sunny corner. I don't know, it's kind of weird to explain. It gets a lot of morning sun and then like about 3 o'clock, it gets put in the shade, and I think it's enough to just keep it doing okay. It's not necessarily not thriving because I trim it down every year, except last year I got lazy, so it's just, I got some trimming to do on it. But look at these, look how pretty they are. Now the cool thing that gets me so excited about these is they're on their own rootstock. I do not have to worry at all about Mr. Huey bursting out from underneath the soil and then dominating my landscape. I don't have to worry about that. That's the typical rootstock, by the way, for a lot of the roses that we get, is the Mr. Huey. These are good. They're a little skinnier, right? So let's see, yeah, 5 feet tall, 4 feet wide, pretty close. Mine never get that tall because I knock them down every year, but I do like these. I do like these. The red that I have is probably the purest red without getting in the hybrid teas. I feel like I'm bouncing all over the place and I apologize, but a lot of the stuff they haven't put away yet. This looks like another Grace and Grit. Yeah, this is the Grace and Grit red. Look how beautiful that red is. Very pretty. That is a very pretty rose. Now they have these priced at $34.98. It's in a 5-gallon pot. You can't beat that with a stick. I don't know what's going on. They must have got a really good deal on these or something, because that is a really good deal. Fantastic. Or you could buy this Monrovia 10-gallon blue spruce, Fat Albert blue spruce for $244. So see why I get so excited about a $34 Monrovia? Now I see a butterfly bush in here. I'm gonna try to get it. What are we doing? Who is ordering the plants around here? They're doing a good job. What are you? True blue butterfly bush. Look at the size of this thing, man. Okay, let's look at this guy. Gotta pop a squat here. Okay, true blue butterfly bush. Beautiful blue flower clusters bloom constantly from summer until frost. Capping strong stems, a silvery green foliage. It does have really pretty foliage. Bluer, silvery, more silvery foliage than what we're used to. I just have butterfly bush radar, I guess. I got that radar for that Boodlia. You know what I'm saying? Now this is a 6x6, so this is a big old girl. She likes that red beans and rice. If I remember right, I'm not gonna look at the tag yet, but if I remember right, April Remembered is a cold hardy. It's a zone 6 camellia, which usually we can't do camellias here. Zone 6 through 10. All right, so they got this priced at $89. This is April Remembered Ice Angel Camellia. Look at the size of this thing. That's on my knee. Look at that. Look at the size of that thing. It's a 5-gallon. These are the largest April Remember camellias that I have seen. I would order them in a 3-gallon because that's all Monrovia would sell me. So for $89, I mean, we're right there in Itoh territory. If you put this in a protected spot, wow. When's our bloom time? So blooms in the fall through mid-spring. So late bloomer. Wow, good for them. Good for them. You know what? I bet that price would scare a lot of amateurs away. We might get a shot at some of those. So this is the Lowe's in Ozark, Missouri. If any locals are out here watching and they want to take a look at these. Sorry, this is nurseryman in me. I'm gonna check. I mean, it's still green. I don't know. This is a weeping redbud. A Ruby Falls. I think we saw those last time we were here. I hope I'm mistaken, but hey, here's something cool. Oh, this video is gonna be way too long. I already see it. Heavy metal switchgrass. Oh, come on, big boy. Look at that guy. That is a good looking grass. Now this has, I can see one here, but I don't know if that's gonna come through on the camera. I'll try to put some pictures in here for you guys like I normally do so you guys can take a look at this, but it has these purple blades of grass periodically through it and very pretty. And if I remember right, the fall color is amazing on these. So anytime you can have some sort of dynamics, a change in color from what you're used to, it resonates. Does that make sense? So you don't want to go from green to brown, that's not what I mean, but going from green with streaks of purple into the entire thing being dark purple or a lighter colored red, you look forward you look forward to that. Zone 4 through 9, 3 feet tall, 2.5 feet wide. So that's it. That's about as big as it's gonna get. Pretty. That's a pretty grass and easy to use because it's not gonna overpower the space. So again, this could be mid-tier for you if you were wanting to pop something in, like let's just say, and let your beds evolve organically, right? I say that a lot to the point where it nauseates me. Say I lose mid-tier somewhere, right? I lose a plant that's in my mid-tier. Then now I know reliably I can go pop in a heavy metal grass in there. And then maybe I can transplant one of the mid-tiers to another area and I can just start working in some heavy metal switchgrass because I know it's gonna be about mid-tier range, about 3 feet tall. Yeah, that worked out pretty good. This is the last kind of plant, and then I'll stop harassing y'all, but I thought these were kind of neat. They're peppermint stripe, peppermint star. So these are peppermint star dianthus. I walked by and I thought those were pretty neat. So a lighter pink with a darker pink center, but then you put them right next to this and it's almost like, or maybe even a red one that's over there. See that red one? And you can mix these in with those or these in with the lighter pink. And it'll really complement each other very well because it has this light pink outer petal and then the throat is that darker red. Very cool. So this is peppermint star dianthus, which I like. What am I trying to say? When I was younger, I had that entrepreneur mindset. I was going to be responsible for the next big thing. I came up with a product called the Peppermint Pocket, which was a special type of underwear that had a pocket in it that you could slide a peppermint in. And it would sit there kind of right by the butt cheeks. And then when you passed gas, it would wash the noxious fumes over the peppermint and would release a peppermint scent. It would give you self-confidence. Maybe you were having some yogurt or you were doing some organic yeast in your smoothie or something like that, and you didn't want to go out in public. With your new beach bod, now you could do that. Just kind of didn't focus group well and just kind of got wrapped up in R&D for a while. We didn't know, do you moisten the peppermint before you put it in the little pocket? Then it kind of evolved into potpourri pocket, which was a little larger. Again, focus group really didn't get on board because they said the pine cones hurt. I mean, it is what it is, but that just reminded me of that, the peppermint star dianthus. So anyway, little trip down memory lane, good times. I've been feeling a little under the weather, and I'm getting better. And you guys help me with that because you help me get out of the house and go look at plants, and you hang out with me, and you're really nice to me. So I appreciate that. This is Landscape Rescue. I am Stuart Moore, and thank you very much for letting me into your home talk about plants.